Hey everybody, so I'm going to talk us through our next section for our math 1-10 solving word problems. This lesson or this example is going to be on page 66 in your workbook. It's question 4 if you want to follow along. As we go through, we're going to start solving word problems using the skills that we've learned over the past couple of weeks. And we're going to use these steps called cubes in order to solve these word problems. So I'm going to walk you guys through these steps today. So our first one is going to be C for circle the numbers. So I'm going to read through my question, and every number that I see, I'm just going to put a red circle around it. So in my question, I have Kara has $153 in her savings on Monday. On Tuesday, she had that's another number there, 6 withdrawals of $15.72 and a deposit of $235. We want to know what is her account balance after these transactions. So I have these 4 numbers here. I've circled them also. That way I know the numbers I'm going to be dealing with in my problem. Next is going to be the U. The U in this case stands for underline the question. So I'm going to want to underline the question because it's going to help me identify what my question wants me to do. So here our question is going to be, what was her account balance after all these transactions? So we're going to know once she's done taking money out and putting money in, what is the total account number that's in her account for her bank? Okay, once we finish doing that, we're on to B. B stands for box the math words. And what I mean by math words are words that tell us to do different operations. So whether that's add, subtract, multiply, or divide. In this case, we have 2 math words that we can circle. So our first one is going to be withdrawals. Withdrawals means we're taking money out of a bank account. So that's going to indicate to us that when we have these 6 withdrawals, that my 6 is going to be a negative number. Okay. Our other math word in this problem is going to be deposit. Because in this case, if I'm depositing money into a bank account, that means I'm putting money in. So that's going to make this $235.15 a positive number. Okay. Once I have my math words boxed, we're going to move on to E. Our E in this case stands for evaluate how to solve. So we're going to come up with the steps it's going to take to solve this math problem here. Based on our question, what we want to figure out first is how much money she's withdrawing from the bank account. So my step 1, I'm going to multiply. And I'm going to multiply this $15.72 times that negative 6 we identified up here. Because that's going to tell me the total amount of money she's taking out of her bank account. After we know how much she's taking out, we want to find the difference between this number here and the amount of money she started with. So we're going to subtract for our second step. We're going to subtract the product, or the answer to this multiplication question. We're going to subtract the product from the 153. Once we find the difference of how much we took out, she also put more money back in, so we're going to add that money back to her account. So her step 3 is going to be add deposit. And that deposit is at $235.15. So now you can see here in the blue part, I've identified all the steps I'm going to take to solve my problem. So from here, I'm going to go through with the last letter here, S. And S in cubes stands for solve. So we've done our work, we figured out our numbers, we figured out what our question is asking us, we figured out the steps that we're going to have to take to solve it. Now we're going to take those steps. So our first step that we identified here is we're multiplying 15.72 times negative 6. Okay, so it's our step 1 here. So 6 times 2 is going to give me 12. 6 times 7 is going to give me 42, plus that 1 will give me 43. 6 times 5 will give me 30, plus this 4 here is going to leave me with a 34. 6 times 1 is going to give me 6, plus that 3 is going to give me 9. So I'll have 9, 4, 3, 2, and then we're going to take a look here where our decimal place goes. In my column, I have 2 places values, so I'm going to move it over 1, 2 spots. And then I had a positive number and a negative number here, which means that 94.32 is going to be a negative number. So there we go, we've done our step 1. Our step 2 that we've chosen our evaluate section is subtract the product from 153. So my step 2 here, I'm going to take that 94 and I'm going to subtract it from the $153 she had in her account. So we're going to subtract that 94.32 there. Okay, so I'm going to have to borrow over from this 3, 1, 2. So 10 minus 2 is going to leave us with 8. When I borrowed, that changed from 10 to 9, so 9 minus 3 will leave us with 6. When I borrowed here, that turns that to 2, so I'm going to borrow over, make it 12. 12 minus 4 will leave us with 8. And then we're going to be left with 14 here minus 9. That's going to leave us with 5. So $58.68 is going to be the amount of money she has in her account before she does her deposit. So we've done our step 2. Our last step is we're going to add the deposit with the amount of money that was in her account. So we're going to take $235.15 and we're going to add $58.68 to that. Okay. So we'll get our addition all set up here. So 5 plus 8 is going to leave us with 13. 1 plus 1 plus 6 is going to leave us with 8. 5 plus 8 will leave us with 13 again. 1 plus 3 is going to make 4. 4 plus 5 is going to leave us with 9. And then we'll bring down this 2. So the total amount of money Kara has in her savings after she makes all her deposits and her withdrawals is going to be $293.83. The last thing we want to do once we're done solving is we just want to check, does our answer make sense? In this case, I would say it makes sense because we're ending with a positive number and we were adding more money to the account than we were taking away. So the $293.83 is a number that makes sense for my answer. And then we are all done with our problem.